Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and it looks like we got some big news about Paramount Plus and Paramount now that Skydance has taken over. It sounds like they're going to outsource Star Trek. It sounds like they know Star Trek is not in a good place right now, and they're very open to just outsourcing it. Now, I'm sure that has something to do with the expense of the show, right? But the last couple of series have not performed very well, and they've been very expensive, and most of them have been canceled. I don't know what's going on with Starfleet Academy. There were some rumors that they were absolutely going to cancel it, but now I'm hearing they're already filming a season 2. So who the hell knows? But they're flat out saying they're open to outsourcing Star Trek. So maybe Seth McFarlane can get a hold of it and actually give us something resembling 90s Star Trek again. That would be pretty cool. I don't know. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, hey, don't forget we have about a week left on the second chance offering for the orc pins. If you go out to badorcs.com, that's badorcs.com, you can secure the bag or the chest or the whatever over there. So Deadline had it. Paramount Plus opening up to outside studios, may experiment with release patterns, won't try to replicate CBS-style programming. What was actually buried in this article was the fact that they will go outside for something like Star Trek. So I will actually jump right to that. And then we'll talk more about what Paramount's doing. They said in search of new hits to complement existing Paramount Plus franchises, such as Star Trek in the Taylor Sheridan universe, Holland is taking down the walls for outside studios. Paramount historically has been walled off, with virtually all of its original series coming from within the company's TV production units, CBS, Showtime, MTV, etc. We're going to be buying from third parties because we want the programming to be the best stories regardless of what the producing entity is. So just let's unpack this a little bit, because they're open to buying content from, like Warner Brothers or whatever, which I'm sure Zaslav's like, oh, cha-ching, we can sell stuff to you. But it also tells me that they're saying they want to buy the best stories regardless of the producing entity. I totally think that they would be open to outsourcing Star Trek, especially since they've canceled pretty much everything. Now, I don't know what the Kurtzman deal, how long that thing goes on for, but Star Trek is not in a good place right now. And they've said that they're actually currently focusing on Star Trek. This would be Ellison, the new guy in charge, that they want to basically fix Star Trek. I wish Disney would feel the same way about Star Wars and be like, yeah, you know what? Let's get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. Let's bring in a third party if they can do a better job, because they most likely can. And let's fix Star Wars. But, that won't happen. That won't happen as long as Bob Iger's there. They said it's great news for outside major studios and independents who have another streamer to sell to. It's also reminiscent to the strategy used by Holland when she was the head of originals at Netflix. So this is the person that they brought in from Netflix to be in charge of all these shows. Top streamer continues to buy from outside in addition to producing its own shows internally. Another parallel to Netflix, in addition to streaming content, Paramount will invest in the actual platform, both Holland and Ellison said, which includes being able to recognize who is coming to Paramount Plus and what their interests are so they can be better served by highlighting relevant content. Oh no, AI. They're going to be like, this. You want to watch this. Netflix pioneered full season binge drops while other streamers largely employed weekly episode releases. There's no set model for Paramount Plus going forward. Okay. So that is what they had on, not a whole lot. Like, I'm going to be honest, there's not a whole lot that they talked about Star Trek specifically, but if you read between the lines and you look at what is going on, it signals to me that they're probably open to outsourcing it. That's just my personal opinion. This is Cindy Holland again. She's the VP of programming. They're not going to focus on movies, but she said, we want to entertain all audiences around the world. We want to entertain all audiences around the world. On Paramount Plus today, we have a really great foundation, which is Taylor Sheridan Universe. We also have incredible CBS Next Day live sports, a lot from the cable networks, franchises like Star Trek, so many series. We're seeking to expand that and make sure that we're offering programming for everybody, not just occasionally, not just for the one thing they came to watch, but ultimately and hopefully a year-round and daily habit for all audiences. Again, Netflix, that's part of the problem with Paramount and Max and Disney Plus and Hulu, is that they have these events, and then once people come in and watch the event, they leave and they don't come back. Or like once that show is over, they'll unsubscribe until the next season in 5 years. You know, the next season, 5 years, which will have like 6 episodes. Yeah, that happens a lot. So they're like, okay, let's be like Netflix where there's so much stuff. Now, the flip side of that is they could dump a lot of crap. On the Paramount Plus is going to be like Netflix where you got to wade through it to find good stuff. But they've said repeatedly that Star Trek is definitely something they're looking to resurrect. And the fact that she's saying they want to make content to entertain audiences around the world. Yeah, that means everybody, again, this is kind of like corporate speak. They're going to create they're going to either buy or create content that's going to play well overseas too. But also I think they're like, yeah, we're not going to try to alienate audiences anymore. Like really, it's not hard to fix it. It's not hard to fix Star Trek. Now, what I'm waiting for, and I don't know if it's been announced yet, is who's actually going to be in charge of Paramount Animation. I'm thinking John Lasseter. If that happens, people are going to lose their collective shit because they tried to get him blacklisted from the industry. And to this day, I still don't know exactly what John Lasseter did that was so heinous. I know he hugged people. I know he was kind of like your drunk uncle or whatever. But as far as I know, there was like no assault or anything like that going on, because Disney even let the guy right out of his contract, and then they just kind of pushed him out the door. But he wasn't like, they didn't throw his shit in a box and push him out into the street or anything. They're like, hey, John, we're just not renewing your contract, and you go over in that office over there because people don't like to be hugged. But if he's in charge of Paramount Animation, Skydance, things are going to be really interesting, because that means he'd be in charge of like all the Nickelodeon stuff too, I think. So I don't know, but let's talk more about Star Trek here before we wrap it up. And this is a huge rumor. Again, we've got all kinds of rumors about Star Trek. I think everybody with Star Trek, they're kind of in a place with it where Star Wars fans are, but I think there's actually more hope, because we saw what happened with Picard season 3, and people are like, well, damn, they actually could fix it. They could fix it if they wanted to, if they got the right people involved. And, I think people are secretly hoping that they do, and then they just forget about Discovery and all that other shit that's come out of the last couple of years. But again, this is a huge rumor. It's been making the rounds. They said Scott Bakula is eyeing a Star Trek return for a President Archer series from the Enterprise producers. So they're possibly going to go back to 90s Star Trek. But are they going to break it like they did Picard? Like, are they going to give us a show that has no resemblance whatsoever to Next Generation, which is what people want? I don't know. And I liked Enterprise. It started out slow. I hated the last episode. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was a terrible way to end the show. But I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty good. I think that's probably the last Star Trek series I watched that I'm like, yeah, this is Star Trek. Yeah, everything since then has just been like, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? So again, this is a huge rumor. I'll just throw it in here because it's a rumor. It's not worth a whole video. But they said, yeah, it's been 20 years since Archer and crew returned to space dock for the series finale of Enterprise, wrapping up a 4-season run on UPN. It seems like a lifetime ago. For some people, it was a lifetime ago, 20 years. Some of the people listening to this video are probably like 20 years old. It said, ahead of his appearance on Trek movies, does canon matter? And if so, when? Panel on Saturday in the Star Trek Vegas convention. Sussman spoke with Star Trek Movie about a series. Okay, so this is the showrunner, Michael Sussman. Spoke about a series of movies he wanted to develop, including this one. He's been developing with Scott Bakula over the last couple of years. Bakula himself will also be the panel. According to Sussman, the idea of Bakula returning to the franchise began a few years ago while Picard was streaming on Paramount Plus. So they said, how soon are we going to see a Star Trek Archer on Paramount Plus? And then realized he actually had an idea based on some seeds planted 2 decades before Enterprise, and Bakula was intrigued. He immediately glommed onto it. Seed was based on the last episode Sussman wrote for the franchise in A Mirror Darkly Part 2. set in the mirror universe. Yep. And because we got to do that in every Star Trek series. We got to do the mirror universe. So he had access to the future data, and he talked about him being president. So somebody needed to think about this, right? This was going to be a graphic that spelled out Archer's life and career after the series ended, knowing the franchise was going into the freezer, might be visible on the finished episode. Therefore, it became Trek canon. In the end, it did. So they talk about how he lived the rest of his life. And, they go on and on about it, but it'd be really... So here, Skydance hopes. There we go. Since then, Bakula and Sussman have continued to work together on separate non-Star Trek projects, but they have kept the conversation about Star Trek United alive, developing and refining it further. At one point, they decided to move the setting from Earth. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, it just goes on. Anyway, so they're calling it Star Trek. I thought it was called President Archer. It's called, it's a high-level overview. The concept. Okay, so they went to Secret Hideout. Oh, don't do that. They had a high-level overview outlining the idea to executives, see if they were interested. Well, it doesn't matter if they're interested. They might step over them. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't really follow what's going on with Kurtzman era Star Trek very much, even though I love Star Trek. It's just I don't care. If they could fix it, if they could outsource it, like I said, I think sending it to Seth McFarlane might be a good idea. I think he wanted it before. I'm pretty sure he wanted it before. But, who knows? Maybe he has a chance. Gonna wrap it up. There it is. We'll see what happens. It sounds like they're on the right track anyway. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Attention, stupid humans. Warlords are evil, just like Gary Gygax and Professor Tolkien warned you. Series 1 of these orc enamel pins are on Kickstarter again for a very limited time. Pick your clan, join the Horde, and cause some mayhem. Go to badorks.com. That's badorks.com.